Hello, class, and welcome to week 2. It's hard to believe that we're already 1 week down. Graduation will be here before you know it. This week we are going to look at the course outcomes of develops and outlines a scientific systematic decision-making process to integrate critical thinking with clinical judgment to assure safe and effective outcomes. In this week's lesson, we got some important things that we need to look at. The first one is Tenet's characteristic of nursing practice. We will discuss this. Make sure you click on this click image and it goes into further depth about each one of these characteristics of nursing practice. This is going to be important because there is a threaded discussion based on these characteristics in this week's lessons. And then you will start to see here that step 2 video. Please make sure that you looked at the video for week 1 because this will give you a further description of our case study that is unfolding each week in our assignments. So make sure you've watched the case study in week 1, and now here is the second part. And this week we are going to start working on our big project. Hopefully you've been thinking about things that you wanted to do and the things that particular topics that you wanted to investigate for your change project. I certainly hope you pick something that is interesting to you because we will be working with it for the next 8 weeks. It's also nice to pick something that's more applicable for you as well. So this week we are going to look at the first threaded discussion, and this is going to be very important because this is also going to start you for your assignment that's due, your milestone 1 that's due next week. So forming the PICO question, very important. Right now, and for this threaded discussion, I want you to put each element of the PICO question, how did you develop this question, and why it's important to your clinical practice. Now, I will answer each and every one of your PICO questions in this threaded discussion. I don't normally answer every single student's, but in this particular post I will. So make sure that you check back to make sure you are on the right track before you start working on your milestone 1. You will need to review the PICO question, review my feedback, and if we need to, we can have some dialogue via email off the public forum, or you can certainly, we can have a meeting by phone so that we can run through these. Now, one of the things I want to look at is we can look at the milestones that are going to be due next week in week 3, but I wanted to do this because this will be important for you to understand where you need to be headed. So let me pull that up. These are the guidelines. Let's first pull up the forms. Okay, so this milestone number 1, again, this is due in week 3, but something you need to start working on and looking at. Fill in this section here. Here is your very step-by-step directions of what this should look like. If you look in this part here, it talks about what's the practice issue and the problem. I want you to give me a paragraph or 2 and tell me why this is a problem and why you think that you need to do this. Answer some of these questions, continue to go down. Here is your PICO element. So obviously after this week, when you get your PICO question or your PICO elements nailed down, then you will just copy them here. You will just type them in right here. And then again, you will state your search question in a narrow, manageable terms. So here again, I want your actual research question here, and that will be done there. Then we're going to go to evidenced appraisal worksheet, and this is where you're going to do your literature review. Again, please make sure you read this. This is very important to make sure you have all the elements that you need. So as you go to your worksheet, you will see that you need 4 resources as a minimum. Of these 4, 3 must be from peer-reviewed articles. If you do not have 3 peer-reviewed articles, you will lose points for that. The other one can be a peer-review article, or it might be something like a clinical practice guidelines or such. It is very important to make sure that it's from a reliable source. So no .coms, nothing like that. You want to make sure it's from a reliable source for you to be able to use it. Now here is the strength of your research. You can write high, good, or low. You need to make sure that you describe why you gave it that particular level of quality. So if you just write, oh, it was good, that's not going to be adequate. You need to make sure you go into detail. Again, here is the pages that you need to review in Deerholt and Dang's book, John Hopkins Nursing Evidence-Based Practice Models and Guidelines. And it will give you clear instructions on how you go about leveling your research. And then here is a description of the research. There's a couple elements you need to describe. How does it apply to your problem or project? Summarize in your own words. What were the results and what recommendations of this source for clinical practice. So this section should be pretty lengthy. As you're typing in here, it'll get longer and longer. Also, you need to make sure that your references are an APA. Again, these two documents are due in week 3, but you probably should go ahead and start working on them once you kind of get approval from your PICO elements for your threaded discussion 1 this week. I will be on them pretty quickly, so as you post them, I will respond to them pretty quickly. Otherwise, it gets too chaotic and I get behind, so I really try to make sure I keep up with those. Again, here is the guidelines for the project and the grading rubric. So make sure that you look at these because these are going to be very important to make sure that you get all the points possible. This assignment is worth 175 points, so it's quite a bit, a good chunk of your assignments. You want to make sure that you do a good job and that it's very thorough. I'm here for you if you need anything, so please don't hesitate to give me a call or shoot me an email and I will respond. And I hope everybody is having a great first week of class, and I'm looking forward to week 2. Have a great week.